goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town! The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Let's go to the beach, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the warm-up episode 46. This episode is going to lighten up your day more than the advertising hoardings at the game against Birmingham last night, as we look forward to Huddersfield Town's seaside trip to Bournemouth. Joining me, your host Brady Frost, to preview the match against the Cherries, is my co-host Josh Phillips, who's dipping his toe back into the metaphorical podcast water. How are you, Josh?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good. And just tripping over my words as normal, sinking in the hosting duties, but we'll move on.
Nobody knows because I've edited that bit out.
Oh, exactly. So, and you're going to edit this bit out? No, keep it in so everyone knows how professional we are. I'm going to move on because I'm in a weird mood, clearly. Joining Joe and I is Tom Bradshaw, who's rolled up his trousers to wade into the choppy waters of Huddersfield Town analysis. How are you, Tom?
I'm not bad, Brady. All good, ready to get in the sea, basically.
Yeah. Look, get in the sea. Well, you think some opinions where you need to get in the sea.
Exactly. I normally do.
I'm gonna steal your joke, Tom. Before we were recording, you were saying you look very much like you're on a Soccer Saturday pundit.
Yeah,
at the
I
moment.
do.
So,
with these big headphones on.
I'm sure I'll try my best to make some corner jokes for out. So I can't let you down. Anyway, Josh is back, but he's not got trash talk. He's got a new game called Back and Forth. Take it away, Josh.
It's pretty similar, to be honest, but yeah, we're going to go back and forth between you, and it's going to be a certain category, and it's the first person to give an incorrect answer loses. So to decide who goes first, because it is an advantage to go second, we toss a coin. So as he's our guest, Tom, I'm flipping it now. If you want to call now.
Heads.
Live coin flipping on this podcast.
It's a head.
Oh,
which means Brady will go first. And the topic is, it's going to be going back to 2011, the Town v Bournemouth playoff semi-final. The squads of each team, the starting 11 and the substitutes are included. We're going to go back and forth. For both teams, you can name from either Town or Bournemouth, and whoever gives a wrong answer first loses. So we're going to go to you first, Brady.
Okay. Jordan Rhodes.
Yes, he started.
interesting. So Ian Bennett.
Correct. How did you know Smithies wasn't playing?
Well, I actually knew Smithies was injured, Josh,
you did.
during that period.
So it's a good job you didn't say that as your first answer. We start the game again.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Like somebody else did.
You clowns.
Back to Brady.
Sean Morrison.
No,
I'm
you've lost.
not doing that.
John Morrison was the season after Brady.
Oh, was it? Am I getting confused? I've got to be honest, lads. This is why we admit when I'm recording. I'm actually very hazy, around that period in football. So
Don't worry about it.
Well, that was an easy win. I think I had another about 10 or 11 lined up, Josh, as well.
Yeah, well, would go through them all, but there's 36 players. So
yeah,
I'll take your word for it. I believe you. Anyway,
so Bournemouth are top of the championship. If you guys were looking at the table, 31 points, 1-9, drawn 4, lost none. They've drawn only once in the last 8, and they've actually won 3 on the bounce. So it's looking like a bit of a daunting task. I was just having a look at their formation. They tend to line up in a 4-3-3, but they can line up in a 4-1-4-1 as well. Something interesting that caught my eye was they've scored 21 goals so far this season, but 11 of those have come in the first 15 minutes of the second half. So Town need to be careful because we know they can start halves quite slow. Yet they've only conceded 8 in the league, so they're not giving away much in the other end of the pitch either defensively. So it's a tough test, I think it's fair to say. But Tom, in the Birmingham preview, when we were talking about runs, because Birmingham were on an awful losing run, runs have to come to an end at some point, good or bad. How do you see this happening in this match? Do you think Huddersfield can get anything from this?
Very difficult one, isn't it? They, like you just said, Brady, their record at the moment is really good. Only conceded 8. I had a look at their squad earlier, and it's got to be one of the better squads we've seen in this division in the last few seasons. So I just think it's going to be difficult. And then I look at when we've gone to Bournemouth in the past, it's a bit of a hit and miss kind of visit in there. So I think we'd do very well to get a point down there. Yeah, that's my assessment of it.
How wonderfully optimistic. But you might be right. Josh, obviously last season away at Bournemouth, it ended up being a bit of a pivotal game really in the season when you think about it, because Carlos named almost like a second string side really, lost 5-0. It should have been about 7 or 8, I seem to remember. And then that's where after that game, he named the same starting 11 like continuously in a row. I can't remember how many games it was. I think it was 8. And that's when it led to all our injuries, and basically one of the reasons why we did so poorly in the second half of the season. So that's a long roundabout way of asking my question that I'm about to ask you. But do you see Town putting in a similar performance, or do you think this team this season, they look a bit more up to the task?
Well, yeah, I do think we look more up to the task. We look much stronger, more resolute. Aside from the 5 goals we conceded against Fulham, we've not conceded many goals this season. Another clean sheet against Birmingham. We've got a clean sheet at Luton. But another thing to consider for me for this game is, although Bournemouth are top of the league, I don't think they're as dangerous as they were last season. I'm not as scared to play them as last season when they battered us. Danjuma, absolutely unreal player for the Championship, to be playing at that level. That's a real frightening prospect. But looking at their team this year, it's good, and I expect them to be up there. But I'm not as wary of them. Well, I'm wary, but you know what I mean. I don't think they're going to carve us open every 2 minutes like they did in the last game we played down there. So I think also, if you look at their results, amongst all the wins, there was a 0-0 draw at Peterborough, who were obviously near the bottom. So that just goes to show they can be shut out. And I think that's got to be our aim for this match. Try and do to them what Birmingham did to us last night, and try and frustrate them and keep it tight for as long as possible, hit them on the counter-attack. But yeah, I think obviously we'd take a point, but I'm not that scared of them, to be honest.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting you to say that, because I'm quite scared of them. I suppose we could do a Birmingham. Not that I'm criticising Birmingham, but I thought they were god awful last night, and the ball was in the air half the time. So I suppose that is a big criticism. To be fair, so.
I didn't see much of the game, but I know what they're like. I can imagine how it went.
I was at the game. So anyone who listened to the Birmingham preview, I told you we weren't going to win because I'm going. So I'm not going to Bournemouth. So who knows? Could get a win. But Josh, I'll come back to you actually, because you say you think they're less threatening than they were last season. But when I was looking at key players, there's quite a lot to pick. So who have you gone for?
There is a lot to pick, but I think I'm basing it quite a lot on Danjuma, because
right.
Dutch international playing in the Championship is ridiculous. All right. So yeah, they don't have someone like that. But yeah, key player. I've actually gone for Billing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he seems to have really settled in there now. He's a regular in the midfield, putting in some good performances. He's actually added goals to his game as well this season. He's got 5 goals so far this campaign. He played one game, a couple of games a bit further forward, but he's primarily been, sitting in the middle of the park doing what he does best. I know some Town fans didn't like him. I personally think he's one of the most technically gifted players I've seen play for Town. So yeah, for me, he's one we've got to shut down. I'm sure Hogg will be all over him, but if he can get near him, but yeah, if he has a good game, then we know what he's capable of. He's very easy on the eye, and he's got a good strike of the ball, good shot on him. So yeah, for me, he's going to be the supply for Bournemouth to the attacking players.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Obviously, I think he scored in the previous fixture last season as well, so I'm sure I want to do better against Town, given how things have left. But I agree with you, mate. I really liked Billing at Town. I know some people didn't. I feel like just not, because he's a fellow tall man like myself. I think he got a lot of criticism for being lazy, but when you're tall, don't need to move your limbs as quickly because you can just go around. So, well, there you go. See, Tom knows.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tom, who have you picked as a key player for Bournemouth?
Just on what Josh has said, I mean, it would be pretty classic Town, wouldn't it, for Billing to score a screamer or even 2 against us on Saturday. So, but I haven't gone for Billing, and like you said, Brady, I looked to that squad. There's so many good players in it. I've gone for one from just kind of when I've seen Celtic play a bit in the past recently, and I've gone Ryan Christie because I just like the look of him. 4 assists this season. Just looks like a good little player. So dangerous coming inside, and yeah, that's my pick for this weekend. But like you said, there's so many names on that squad. It's like, it's difficult to choose, to be honest.
Yeah, I picked Christie as well because he's got 4 assists in 8 matches. Yeah. And I've always liked him at Celtic. Obviously, I think he scored a really pivotal goal for Scotland to qualify for the Euros as well. And I've always kind of liked him, and like you say, can play across the front three. Seems to be playing on the right for them in the 4-3-3. I went for Christie though because I thought one of you picked Dominic Solanke. 8 goals already this season. He got good numbers last season. I think he's proven himself to be not quite Mitrovic levels, but one of the better strikers in the league for sure. So I'll go for Solanke then because I think, he had a bit of fun when we played him last season at the Vitality. So there's just so many to pick from. I mean, not that I'm going to run through the whole team, but Jayden Anthony, who's seems to have come out from nowhere as well, looks really good. They've got a lot of attacking threat, really. But
just want to mention as well, sorry, on the subject of Bournemouth players, I'm sure you'll speak on behalf of the Town fan base and wishing David Brooks all the best in his recovery. All the best to him.
Yeah, very well done, Josh. We'll move on to Huddersfield. I'll jump in first for my key player, Lee Nichols for me. I think if we're going to get anything from this game, he needs to have a good performance. What I didn't really appreciate, I know Birmingham weren't up to much last night, but he really calms the defence down. And this is no criticism to Schofield, but the thing I noticed between him and Schofield, it's just experience. But obviously we've seen Schofield in net quite a few times, and really, it's when you notice. But just when there was those kind of balls where it's in the kind of corner of the box, he'd just come and pick it up, and whereas before with Schofield, you wouldn't be too sure what he was going to do, and I think he'd be a bit indecisive. And I think Nichols will be so key to this game because we were chatting about it on Wednesday, and I think it was Marcus who made the point that if you look past Sorba Thomas for player of the season, Nichols is arguably player of the season, and I think that's kind of hard to disagree with. I think him and the defence have made such a huge difference, and I could see him. We know what it's like for his time wasting, so I think it's all the little things. If he can get on the opposition skin, that could help as well. So I've gone for Lee Nichols because I think he will be a busy boy. this Saturday. But Tom, what about yourself? Who have you picked from Huddersfield?
Yeah, I've gone defensive as well. So I think when he signed, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit uninspiring, but he's turned out to be everything that most Chef Wednesday fans said. So Tom Lees, if he can bring some of that experience to a game like this and keep them quiet, that's all you can ask, isn't it? And he just seems to be really calm on the ball and knows what he's doing, goes about his business. So yeah, let's hope he continues doing that on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, he's been a hell of a pickup. I've been really impressed, to be fair. I know he's Bromby's mate, but if your mates play that good, Lee, keep them coming.
Yeah.
So, Josh, who have you picked from Huddersfield? I've heard it's not Levi Colwell.
It can't be because he's not playing. So I'm going for his replacement, Naby Sarr. That's who we'd expect to fill in there, left centre back. Although I didn't pick him for key player, I know Tom, you picked him, Christie. I think he's going to be, a big threat to us down the right. So Toffolo, he'll obviously track back as well to fill in there, but I think Sarr might be the one who has more one-on-one duels with Christie. So yeah, I think Naby Sarr is going to need to produce one of his better games. Hopefully he doesn't miss the ball again like he did against Hull. And although he made a good recovery from that, didn't he? But yeah, also just touching back on your Lee Nichols pick, I wonder what the odds are for him getting a yellow card on Saturday. And if he does, it's probably a good thing because it means we've got something to hang on to.
Yeah, I think that's a very high probability. I'm not a betting man, but I think that's a dead cert. And Joe pointed out actually that he's got a lot of yellow cards for time wasting when it's been his first or a couple of warnings. So I think given how Bournemouth are top of the league, and well, this sounds like I'm a bit of a crackpot, but refs, when you're playing teams higher in the league, I think they can tend to be a bit more lenient and favour the bigger sides. But anyway, I will move on because otherwise that's when I get my tinfoil hat on. We'll move on because it's time for the view from the other side.
We're sorry, your call cannot be
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
I caught up with Tom Jordan from podcast Back of the Net, clearly they're Partridge fans, to see what he thought of the game, and here's what he had to say. Hi Tom, thanks for joining me. So my first question is, how have you viewed Bournemouth's season so far? Is it what you expected?
Well, I'll tell you what, it would be very poor of me to say I've not been happy with the start of the season we've had. Obviously unbeaten at the moment, going very well. I mean, look at our squad, and to be fair, I'd expected a good start. But, new manager, sometimes it takes time. So we're really happy with how Scott Parker's managed to adapt certain things within the squad. We've brought through some really good young players, as well as some astute signings, and already the quality that we had. So we're always going to be there or thereabouts, in my opinion. But it's definitely exceeded expectations because we haven't even lost yet. So it would be wrong of me to say otherwise, really. But it's been a really good start, but we're aware it is just a start. But at the moment, everything is hunky-dory, that's for sure.
Scott Parker seemed an unexpected appointment from the outside, but Bournemouth are top of the table heading into this fixture. What are your thoughts on the manager so far?
It was an appointment that I think was one that we expected, in the sense that we've heard from the club that he was always the man they wanted after Eddie. Sadly, it wasn't able to do that because when we went down, he went up with Fulham. I think if they had lost that playoff final, we probably would have got him. That wasn't to be. Tried it with Jason, didn't quite work, and Woodgate was a decent stopgap. But I was relatively pleased with Scott Parker. I mean, I didn't know an awful lot. I thought he got a Fulham team up that I'd probably expect to be up, and then struggled in the Premier League, which you'd expect him to do. So wasn't sure, but he's come with a decent reputation, and certainly as a player, he was a grafter. He was a worker, and he certainly instilled that in the players' early doors. And we're really happy. we're really happy. I think the main thing was the fact that it was clearly a long-term appointment, a project, a young manager. It wasn't one of them old school managers that you think is going to come in and just try and get us up. It was long-term, whatever happens this season. So that was something myself and most fans were pleased with anyway.
What can we expect from this Bournemouth team on the pitch then?
I think in terms of how we're doing at the moment, the way we play, what you can expect is a team full of energy, full of hunger, high press. He likes him to do a lot of work off the ball. You'll see our wide men, which I expect to be Ryan Christie and Jane Anthony, working their socks off, unlike, all wingers these days, but they'll work their socks off tirelessly, just like Dom Solanke. So it's a very kind of defend from the front attitude. When we've got the ball, we'll try to be quick in transition and attack you and things like that. But we're hard to break down. We've got all components going really well at the moment. The fullbacks will fly on, but because we can afford to do that, because we've got players like Jefferson Lerma, Ben Pearson, that can sit deep, allow them fullbacks to bomb on. And when you've got someone like Gary Cahill alongside Lloyd Kelly, you're quite comfortable that if they're trying to break, we've got some top centre halves there that can deal with it. Kelly's got a good yard of pace, and obviously Gary Cahill has been an absolute Rolls Royce in the Championship so far for us. We've barely conceded a goal since he's been in, to be honest. So expect a high tempo kind of play from us, quite aggressive with and without the ball. But we'll go for it. But we'd like to think we're quite nice on the eye as well.
And finally, how do you see the game going, and what's your score prediction?
And leaning on from that really, in terms of a score prediction, do you think it's going to be tight? I actually think we've got an amazing record at the moment defensively, but for some reason I think you might nick one. Especially away from home, we've kept 6 clean sheets in a row away from home, which is really impressive. But I think it might be a few goals, and I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 to ourselves. And Dom Solanke will definitely get on the score sheet if he's firing at the moment. So I think we'll just have too much, but we're certainly anticipating a tough game. And I'm looking forward to it. We've had some good games with you guys, so I think it'll be a close one, but I'm hoping we'll nick it.
Okay, so we heard from Tom. Now, Josh, you've jumped in your hot tub time machine, haven't you, for a trip down memory lane to take us back in time. So take it away.
A backpack full of memories.
Okay, so I've gone back to February 2018, and it's probably Town's best Premier League game, I'd say. Most convincing win. We beat Bournemouth 4-1. Alex Pritchard, I don't know if it was his debut, but it was certainly early on in his Town career. He scored after 7 minutes, and I think we were all thinking, what a player we've got here.
Yeah.
Junior Stanislas equalised for Bournemouth on 13 minutes, and Steve Mounier put us back in front on 27. And then a Steve Cook own goal in the 66th minute made it 3-1. And then we got a penalty right at the end. And I think there was a bit of arguments between the players about who was going to take it. I think Van La Parra won that argument, and he put it away. So you can't really say much about him on that. But I just remember that game as one of our best games in the Premier League. And I think it gave us a lot of feeling that we could stay up after a bit of a tricky run. It gave us a bit of confidence going into the remaining games to achieve the goal of staying up. But just were you two at that game?
So I remember that game really well because it was the only home game I didn't go to in the 2 seasons we were in the Premier League. So I was in Whitby and I saw the BBC Sport notifications pinging off my phone.
You've been banned from the ground, mate.
I know. I should be banned. I mean, look. I go and look what happened last night. So I remember watching it. I also remember. I don't know if you guys remember it, but because it was on. I can't remember what it was on, Sky or BT, but
on BT.
It's when Danny Williams had a bit of a shorts malfunction. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was that game?
Yeah.
Oh.
So were you there, Tom? Were you at that match?
No, I didn't. I watched it on TV. I would have had to get up as early as those Bournemouth fans to get to it at the time, so I didn't come up for it. But it was one of the most relaxing games in the Premier League anyway, apart from when we were like 3 or 4-0 down. But they've just played really well, didn't they? And I think, like you said, Josh, Alex Pritchard, it was like, really early on, and we all thought, oh, blooming out, what we got here. He's doing what he did at Norwich, and then it just kind of, unfortunately, it went all downhill from there.
Yeah, it didn't quite go to plan.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think we were talking about Pritchard the other day, so I had a look because obviously he's gone to Sunderland. 10 games, 4 starts, 1 assist, average minutes per game 38. So not really working out because I always thought he was just going to move to a different club and absolutely smash it because it was just.
I don't know. It was weird because back end of his time at Town, he was trying, and it was like everything he did just went wrong. It's like he was cursed, you know. He'd try a pass and it'd get cut out, and it looked like the right pass, and just nothing was going right for him. But I think it was time for him to move on. But as you say, he's not really done it at Sunderland yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 10 games in, so who knows? He might get a bit of a run. And I agree. Like, you can look at some of Town signings in the Premier League era, which is very well documented. But I always felt he was trying. You know, he just had a bit of an injury problem. Obviously, had that thing with his cyst in his knee. But yeah. Sorry. Well, this is all. You know, we've spoke about this quite a few times.
This isn't the Alex Pritchard podcast.
It's not. What a very short podcast that would be. Anyway, let's talk about some more successful former players because it's time for Return to the Mac.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend.
De Plata's got the better. Yeah! And Laurent De Plata scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Mac.
Okay, so Tom, it's not the Alex Pritchard podcast unless you picked him for Return to the Mac. But I'm assuming, have you?
No.
I don't think you'd win.
No. I've gone for a bit of a different one this week than what I normally go for. I've gone for one that, like, if this could actually happen in the real world, it'd be so interesting to see.
Okay.
So I've picked George Brown, our top goal scorer ever from like the 1920s, 142 goals in 213 appearances for Town. And I just thought, could they do it? Could they do it on a cold Saturday afternoon in Bournemouth in 2021, 100 years on from when he was like in his prime? So that's what I've gone for this week.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to when we tweet this out. Something like how I remember him. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Why did you pick a striker in particular then, Tom? Because I'm assuming you don't know much about him apart from being all-time.
Just because I do think we need someone to basically stick it in the net at the moment. From what I saw from last night, Campbell did all right, but it's like
I was unlucky. Yeah,
it's just I don't know. It's like Ward had a good game of a week. Who was that against? Blackburn, yeah. But it's just something with a bit more consistency, I think. Do you know what I mean? And if we're still up there around January, if we're still like on the edge of the playoffs, I'd like to think that we might look for someone. It's like I don't know what's going on with Meepo. Is he unwell or something? So
it's his birthday today. It's his 19th.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Meepo. Let's hope his birthday present is a place on the coach down to Bournemouth.
That sounded so forced. Happy birthday, Meepo. Hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
A great team. No, I hope he has a great day, and I hope, like you say, he's on the coach and bags a goal because
exactly.
I think we all want to see him a bit. To be fair,
yeah. So George Brown, 142 goals in 213 appearances for Town. Bring him back. See if he can do it.
Well, like I said, anyone listening to this who has any stories, passed down about George Brown, do get in touch because I mean, I'm bloody struggling with 2011. So can't tell you anything about that. Josh, who have you picked for Return to the Mac?
Mine's a lot more recent, that he wore the town colours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually a bit pained to pick him because I don't really like him as a person.
All right.
But I've gone for Danny Simpson. When he first came in, he was like rock solid in that right back position. And I think we'll need some of that defensive solidity against Bournemouth. It probably, in my team, I've picked Turton because I think we need a bit more defensive solidity, as I said. But I don't dislike Turton. He's warming to him a bit more.
I get the vibes.
I'm coming round to him a bit more, but I still think I'd rather have Simpson playing that role on Saturday.
Yeah, you're very hot and cold with gingers, you, Josh. You love Lewis O'Brien, but you're a bit cold on Turton.
Yeah.
We'll let the listeners make up their mind about what you think of me, really. So.
Less about the hair, it's more about the football ability.
Okay, well, I'd be very much in the Turton camp, I think. You'd see me at 5-a-side. Yeah. Okay, I think that's a good shout. Yeah, obviously awful what Simpson did, but like you say, I'm sure people know about that anyway. I'm going to move on because I'm going to pick someone I do like on and off the pitch, and I liked him at Town. And obviously he moved to Burnley and we got good money for him, and then never really played. Nahki Wells. Like Nahki. I think Tom's right. We need a striker. I wouldn't call Nahki prolific. I thought Campbell was really unlucky yesterday, by the way. Hitting the woodwork twice. I thought, to be honest, because I was at that side in the second half, I thought one of them was in for sure. So we'll move on to the team in a bit, and I think I'll talk about Campbell a little bit more. But I just think Nahki was again a bit of a nuisance, and he could fall. If it wasn't him scoring, because a lot of his goals weren't clean strikes, but again, kind of like in the right place. And I'd be interested to see what he's like in this team, because I think he could actually work quite well in Carlos's side. So I've gone for Nahki Wells. So I always liked him and wanted him back, to be honest. I think again, this is not the past. Well, we have a lot of features in the past and we could talk about this, but I never really wanted to sell him, to be honest. I would have liked to see him have a crack in the Prem. So we'll see. But
that was a strange one. When we sold him, I was surprised that
it was good money though, wasn't it? Didn't they pay like 9 million for him or something?
Yeah, and then they never really played him, did they?
Yeah, I only remember him coming on when we played Burnley, and I think was it like for 10 minutes or something like that? And obviously went to QPR, did well. He's at Bristol now. Yeah, I'd love Nahki to come back.
I'm just not sure, because now we do play it long a little bit, don't we? Sometimes. I don't think he could do that on his own up front, as much as Ward gets his criticism, he can win the odd header and hold it up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. As an option, I think.
I know it's a good pick. I'm surprised he's not been picked already.
Yeah. Well, I'm just that guy. I'm always coming up with new solutions. I mean, look at Tom picking players in the 20s. I think Josh, when it gets to like March, April time, that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time for You're the Boss. I think this is going to be the most interesting bit of the pod, lads, because obviously some people are out. Some people, maybe based on yesterday, have made a start. There actually is a few questions about the lineup, I would say, a few debates we could have. So, Tom, how are you going to line up for this game against Bournemouth?
Yeah, you'll have to tell me if someone's not going to be able to play as well, because I didn't know that Levi was out with suspension.
That is just Twitter, by the way.
I
don't know for definite.
But I think it's right. He's got 5 yellows, hasn't he?
Right.
Okay. So,
well, how many yellows is Nichols on now? Because he must be getting close to that number as well soon.
2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's interesting because Schofield's still injured, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
The young lad, what's his name? Billy Kapach?
I think we'd probably get emergency loan, wouldn't we?
Oh, you and your emergency loans, Josh.
No, you can't
throw
a young kid in. I don't. We should have learned our lesson.
We'll all be on transfer. If that happens, we'll be on Transfermarkt looking at free agents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Got
Lee in net, Lee Nichols in net first.
Mhm.
Then same formation as against Birmingham.
Right.
So Toffolo with like Pearson, Sarr, and Lee's
Mhm.
the three kind of in the middle, and then Sober out wide as well. So Toffolo and Sober on the flanks.
Did you say sober?
Sober
Thomas.
Sorry, Sober Thomas. And then O'Brien and Hogg in the middle. And then Holmes and Sinani just in front of them two, and then Campbell up front.
So I think Holmes has played quite well, but I'm surprised Karoma's not in there. What are you just thinking he needs a little bit of time? He's not had the best season so far, has he?
I think let's kind of like almost do a reset on him and kind of start bringing him on as a impact sub, and see if he can get a bit of that form back from last season, because he's just looked a little bit off. I don't know whether that's because Sober Thomas is playing so well. It's like he's kind of been overshadowed, maybe. But yeah, I just think I'd start Holmes, because Holmes did look pretty decent last night. And then bring Karoma on. He's always a good option to have off the bench, isn't it? Because he can either play out wide or even go up front. To be honest, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think what I noticed from the game yesterday was Holmes seemed to be the only one who was going to run into space, and I think we're gonna playing Bournemouth. We're gonna have to take our chances really. So I think that's a good shout. Why do you pick Campbell though over Ward? I think that's been a bit of a debate. In the amongst our fans.
For me, not tomorrow. If you're listening to it on Friday, tomorrow, I just think Campbell causes more problems. He doesn't stop running after the ball, and he gets in defenders' faces a bit more, I think so. And I just think, is it Kale's been playing recently for them, hasn't he? So
he has, yeah.
It's a lot of experience back there, and I think you want someone to really give it a go and get in his face. Then Campbell's your striker that we've got who can do that.
Yeah, he can play. I think it was Kevin, not Kevin Friend. That's the George Friend, who Campbell absolutely manhandled and got a free kick. So I think, to be honest, I think Stephen Chicken was talking about it. I think Campbell's a very good striker to play away, like you said, particularly against bigger teams, because he'll just be an absolute nuisance, and I think that's what we need. Lovely chat there, Tom, between me and you. I'll bring in Josh now because he was very patiently waiting.
Just going to say, Brady, though, you've said twice now that Bournemouth are a bigger team than us. Yeah, but I'd say they're a better team.
Okay. I mean, we all know they're massive 70,000 stadium. Sorry, I would say yes, better team. And when I say bigger team, just to clarify before my Twitter mentions get a bit interesting, when I'm referring to bigger team, I mean bigger budgets.
Yes, okay.
Because I would love for Town to sign players for 20 million every transfer window like they did for the last 6-7 seasons before the Championship. So, bigger team, more of that. Josh.
Well, I've actually changed my mind during your little, I've had a little bit of time to think about it.
Doesn't waste any time this time. It's not involved.
I've chopped and changed, and I'm going for a 3-5-1-1.
Oh,
right.
A formation we've not played before.
Nichols in goal.
Yeah.
Sarr, Lees, Pearson.
Uh-huh.
I was going to put Turton right wing back, but I've changed my mind
because
we just wouldn't have enough width or going forward. So I've gone for Thomas and Toffolo on the left, and then Hogg, O'Brien, and High, three in the middle. So I'm going to match their three in the middle, and then Campbell up front with Holmes playing off him. I've got Campbell as well because we can use him as a bit of a battering ram and just upset him a bit. And then have Holmes and then Toffolo and Thomas can push forward at the appropriate times. So yeah, So I've gone for I've tried to match them in the midfield because I think that's where they dominate the game, and then a bit more defensively minded, and hit them on the counter attack.
I quite like that actually. I think High's been a bit unlucky to not be getting more games. Really, I think he's done all right. I think I said this before. I'm still not really sure what Scott High does a lot, but I think, in fairness to him, he has played well, and I kind of, the more he's played, I've kind of got it, if that makes sense.
He's got a good pass on. He's got a good vision.
And he works hard, and I think, we'll come on to how we see the game going, but
sometimes the game can pass him by, but
he's a young lad, isn't he?
He's got good work rate. He gets about the pitch well, and when he gets on the ball, he uses it well. Rarely gives it away. He can, as I say, can see a pass. So I think there's potential with him.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think you're right though. But like, we'll come on to the game, but I think we need runners for this game to hassle and harry Bournemouth. So I think that's a good shout. I've not really changed much. Same goalkeeper, same back three. Pearson, Lee, Sarr, Thomas still, Hogg, O'Brien, Toff. It's up front really for me. So I didn't think Sinani had the best game last night. Gave the ball away quite a few times, and it didn't really come from anything from Birmingham. I thought Chong was quite dangerous at times yesterday. But so I've actually, my front three, I'm going to put Holmes on the right. I'm going to put Campbell in the middle, and I'm going to put Karoma back in. Because I wonder if it actually might be a better game for Sinani to come on if it's still even. Because it's less tired legs, etc. I just think Sinani, I want to see a little bit more from him. I know he's been playing quite a lot for Luxembourg in the national break, but he's had a couple of good chances to score, not really done it just yet, and I think he's been a bit unlucky in times, in fairness, as well.
He gave it away against Hull quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a game we rest him, really, because after this we've got a week's break until Millwall, and maybe he has a bit more time to train and get, just be a bit sharper. So yeah, that's my changes really. We talked about earlier, I think Campbell's perfect striker for this game. I think, well, we'll come on to it now. How do you see the game going, Tom?
Like you've both said it about kind of defending really well and playing on the counter attack. So you never know if we nick a goal and defend really, really well. And Tom Lees does some amazing, not Tom Lee, sorry, Lee Nichols, two Lees. Lee Nichols does some amazing time wasting. Then you never know, maybe 1-0 Town. But I just think 2-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a lot better than 5-0 last.
Yeah, I think we're defending really well. We seem to be a lot more solid this season. And like Josh said, when you're saying you weren't as worried as last season, Josh, I think I agree with you, but a lot of that for me is down to our team now and the defense and the depth. And I feel like Lee Nichols just brings so much more relaxation to that back four or defense now. And I think, it was just with Schofield, maybe he was just a bit too young, a bit not really ready for that kind of football yet. And the people in front, it kind of rubs off on them, doesn't it? If he's a bit nervous, then they're a bit nervous. And Nichols seems to have just calmed everyone down a bit. So, my head says 2-1 Bournemouth, but if I'm being optimistic, let's go with a 1-0 Town win.
Which one? If you had to pick one for the.
Well, I'd pick the win, Josh.
You go 1-0.
Yeah.
Are you going for the goal? Who's your goal scorer?
Let's go for let's go for Campbell. Campbell goal scorer. Yeah.
Campbell.
Yeah. Campbell.
If I tell you what, if Town win 1-0, Tom certainly won't be a sober Thomas.
Hey,
he's back. Josh, how do you see the game going?
I'm going for an optimistic 0-0.
Okay.
Try and just you know what? How's it? Similar to.
Because we're on this podcast, mate. I know what you wanted to say.
All right. Well,
the
moment's gone. Yeah, just try and grind out to an extent. I don't think we can just sit back and defend for 90 minutes. I don't think we're capable of doing that. Although the defense is pretty good at the moment, I just, as a team, I don't think we've got the mentality to do that. So I think we're going to have to attack a little bit. But yeah, I think 0-0 I'd take right now if it was offered. I don't think it's being offered, but if it was, then I'd be up for it. So yeah, 0-0.
Nice. I think it's one of these where it's not really about the result for me. It's about how we perform. We saw how bad we were last season. We do look a lot better defensively, and I think sometimes you just got to say that there are better teams than you in this league, and I think Bournemouth are one of them. We don't have a £20 million striker. You know, we can't sign these players, and I think I've predicted 3-1 loss for Town, but I can kind of see it being too, like, I think Bournemouth just they have too much for us, really, even though we've been better defensively. I hope I'm wrong with that, but I could actually see it being quite tight, and then just because we're giving it all and, you know, tighten out, their quality gets them over the line. I could see it being like 1-1, maybe 2-1 to them for a while, and then it's just like I can see like a third goal in the last 5 minutes. It's just, I think they're a good team. You know, nothing against Town. You know, we saw obviously Schofield was in net for the Fulham game, but Fulham I don't think had to do much. Admittedly, we were quite poor that day. I can't really see us being poor here, but I do just think Bournemouth are a better side. And we've got some, you know, on paper other winnable games coming up. We've got Millwall next Saturday. I think that's a good chance to bounce back. So not too bothered about the result here. I think as long as we give a good account of ourselves, I can't see it being 5-0. 5-0 defeat with this team. But I think Bournemouth will win, unfortunately. But sorry, Josh, what did you say?
Are you picking to score for Town?
Campbell. I think he was really unlucky not to score yesterday, to be honest. I thought he's one where it's quite close range. I thought that was going to bounce in for crossbar.
It's a bit worrying that you've predicted a Town defeat, mate, because you are top of the predictions table.
Am I?
Yeah, you're on 12. The guests are on 11, and I'm lagging behind on 7. So, yeah, a bit worrying that you've predicted a Town loss.
Well, and I'm not even going to this game. So I wish I was going and predicted a defeat, because that meant we'd clearly win. So if anyone wants to sort me out with a ticket, you know, they're recording this on a Thursday. You've got a bit of time to sort it out from the boys. So not to worry. I feel like we've ended this on quite a, you know, we all think Town are going to lose apart from Tom. Tom, do you have any positives we can leave?
I said draw. We've got a win, a loss, and a draw predicted. Sorry, Tom. Go on.
Yeah. Just a draw, yeah. We're all right. We're all right, Brady. You never know, do you? You never know with football. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly. In fact, Tom, I don't think we've mentioned it when we've recorded.
Well, exactly. No, we haven't actually.
Why have you picked your background?
Well, yeah, it's you'd call it an anniversary on this day. How many years ago now? 4 years ago. Yeah, on this day 4 years ago, we beat United 2-1. So there's a prime example of it. I don't think anyone thought we were going to win that day, and we did. So why can't we go beat Bournemouth unbeaten? They've got to lose at some point, haven't they?
And as Neil Warnock said, could be a knob end in the 90th minute. Don't matter, does it?
Life is like a box of chocolates or something.
I tell you what, forget Alex Pritchard. If this is going to be any podcast, it'd be on Neil Warnock podcast for sure. I think that's something we could all get behind. There we go, Tom. You left us on a good note there. Josh and Tom, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks to all of you for listening. Josh and I will be back next week to preview the Millwall game. I think I'd feel a little bit more confident about that one. So, fingers crossed for Saturday and up the Town.
Up the Town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.